A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Foundation Day of the Mizuho India Japan Study Center, or MIJSC, a center of excellence at the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. I am Meghna, your host for today. I would like to thank you all for joining us on this special occasion. MIGSE was set up as a center of excellence at IIM Bangalore to serve as a facilitative initiatives among academia, industry, and the government agencies between India and Japan on various areas of mutual interest. This event is bilingual. I request the audience to choose their preferred language, English or Japanese, from the interpretation tab below. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce our theme for today: Connect, Explore, Transform. We would reach out to the center's current and future stakeholders and showcase its successes through various collaborative activities. In the second session, Explore, we will highlight the learnings captured through the research-funded projects and lecture series delivered by industry experts. In the third session, Transform, we will introduce the transformational initiatives
There seems to be, ladies and gentlemen, there seems to be a disruption because she seems to be having some connectivity issue. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So it is a pleasure and a privilege to warmly welcome Professor D. Krishnasundar, who is the chairperson of MIJSC since its inception in 2017. He is a faculty member at IIM Bangalore for the past 26 years, and he is currently the professor of operations management. He is a consultant to many industries, and both in India and abroad. And welcome, sir, to set the context for today's event.
Thank you. Good morning, all of you, and a very good morning to all of you, and good afternoon for those who are joining from Japan. I'm very happy to invite you all today to this Foundation Day celebrations of Mizuho India Japan Study Center. It's a privilege inviting you all, having you all in this event today. As all of us are aware of the relationships between both the countries, India and Japan, dates back to centuries. Most importantly, post-independence of India from 1958, India-Japan relationships have grown leaps and bounds, more so in the last 2 decades, with the economic as well as cultural, as well as security-related areas In this backdrop, IIM Bangalore, as one of the global business schools, also which has collaborations in it with strong research focus in present contemporary business challenges and future business opportunities and openings. More importantly, in the areas of entrepreneurship and innovation, IIM Bangalore has set up India-Japan Study Center in 2017 on September 14th. It so happens on the same day, the Ahmedabad-Mumbai bullet train project was also inaugurated by the then Japanese Premier Abe-san and India's Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. On the same day, India-Japan Study Center was inaugurated in India, in IIM Bangalore by Indian Institute of Management Bangalore. The whole idea behind setting up the India-Japan Study Center was to facilitate the research in the areas of business, culture, as well as future opportunities in line with bringing people of both the countries together. With that broad idea, when Indian Institute of Management Bangalore has set up India-Japan Study Center, in the last 4 years, India-Japan Study Center has taken a few initiatives, took few baby steps in the right direction, but very firmly with the support of the Indian Institute of Management Bangalore management team, as well as faculty colleagues at IIM Bangalore, along with the support from industry, both in India and Japan, as well as the government agencies of India and Japan. Right now in India, when we see that more than 1,450 odd Japanese companies which are registered and 4,900 odd Japanese companies who are doing business, and the investments from Japan are growing in terms of the FIIs and FDIs, most importantly in the manufacturing sector. India is immensely getting benefited, not only in the manufacturing or agricultural sector or logistics, also infrastructure areas. In the present context, with the kind of a demographic advantage that India has and the aging challenges of Japan, also bringing opportunities to complement each other in various areas of interest. Most importantly, in the areas of innovation, entrepreneurship, as well as startup arena, Japan is very much interested in the areas of artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data areas, in looking at the Indian entrepreneurs and Indian startups and Indian technologies, the way they're able to surge ahead. With these ideas, Indian Institute of Management Bangalore has seen the great opportunity not only to learn from Japan, leverage their support, but also extend meaningful complementary services as well as energy and youthful talent to Japan. With this broad idea, India-Japan Study Center has established in Indian Institute of Management Bangalore, which has strong focus and great strength in the academic as well as research areas. With this broad background, India-Japan Study Center has gotten various varieties of support from Toshiba Corporation, Toshiba Software India Private Limited, as well as in a big way from Mizuho Bank. As a token of appreciation, reciprocating the courtesies, Indian Institute of Management Bangalore has renamed India-Japan Study Center as Mizuho India-Japan Study Center from April 2021 onwards. Mizuho India-Japan Study Center is actively engaging itself both in the academic activities by offering various types of courses, elective courses to various long duration programs of Indian Institute of Management Bangalore students. Besides the Japanese language program, also addressing some of the needs of the executives of Japan as well as India. Most importantly, last year, India-Japan Study Center was able to offer advanced leadership program for the entrepreneurs of Japan and India, where it is a 3-day boot camp was organized, especially to those entrepreneurs who are interested in exploring the possibilities of coming out with collaborative new initiatives, where it has the participants both from Japan as well as in India. And we got a great support from the Japan Embassy in India, where Japanese ambassador Suzuki-san had hosted the participants for a day in Delhi Embassy, also has extended his best compliments and presented the awards to the best business plans that have come out of the boot camp. In this direction, India-Japan Study Center also has initiated very many research projects funded by Mizuho India-Japan Study Center, along with partnering Japanese universities, whereas India-Japan Study Center has collaborations with the top 3 private as well as top 3 public universities of Japan, like Tokyo University, Keio University, Kyoto University, Waseda University, Hitotsubashi University, as well as International University of Japan. Besides those, Mizuho India-Japan Study Center and Indian Institute of Management Bangalore has strong relationships with Meiji University, Hiroshima University, Musashi University, as well as NUCB Nagaya, and very many other universities we are collaborating. And in this journey, we are also at India-Japan Study Center trying to come up with most relevant and socially appropriate research initiatives in the areas of handlooms, handicrafts, master craftsmen of both the countries, as well as culture in terms of comparing and contrasting Kudiyattam, as well as the Japanese theater kabuki. Besides the labor challenges and issues and participation of women in labor activities and corporate governance, these are the broad themes where Mizuho India-Japan Study Center is pursuing various research projects with the help of various academicians, especially the faculty colleagues at IIM Bangalore, in establishing the knowledge repository, which would be useful to the students, business communities of both the countries. In this journey, India-Japan Study Center also has envisaged, and many initiatives are on the anvil, where in these pandemic days, we have started webinars where various experts from Japan and India have shared their expertise with the interested participants, like experts like Ms. Naoko Yamazaki, the women astronaut from Japan, from JAXA, as well as Professor Furuhashi, as well as the roboticist Tomatake Takahashi, Indian industrialists like Baba Saheb Kalyani. Various experts have delivered their talks, and it is continuing. Besides this, we have also initiated on the anvil multiple research projects, especially focusing on the small and medium enterprises, trying to come out with a way of assessing their business maturity models, which we are calling as Business Evaluation and Transformation Index, as well as making the engineering graduates from rural and semi-urban areas Japan ready by trying to make them ready with the Japanese manufacturing techniques, which we call as a visionary learning communities of India, with the help of JICA as well as CII. These things are on the anvil, besides many other research projects. Also, Mizuho India-Japan Study Center is trying to establish the physical facilities in terms of the center's building in our new campus in the years to come. With the support of the well-wishers from industry and from both the governments, and most importantly from the management of Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, and the board members, Mizuho India Japan Study Center is looking forward to taking forward the great opportunity in building strong bridges between both the countries, complementing each other, learning from each other with the support and help of all of you. And in the process, we are getting tremendous support from embassies of Japan in India, as well as Indian embassy in Japan. Their ambassadors are extending extended support. We look forward to this continued support, both from the academic colleagues, other academic institutions, industry champions, as well as industry leaders and corporate entities of both the countries. With the help and involvement and support, we hope to make Mizuho India Japan Study Center as one of the best repositories of knowledge and research as far as India and Japan business activities are concerned in the Asian context. With this, I once again welcome all of you, and I thank you very much for the continued support in the last 4 years. And we look forward to your continued advice, support, and involvement with Mizuho India Japan Study Center in making one of the best research centers to make both the countries' relationships flourish and become stronger and stronger in the days to come. With this, I thank you all once again, and I wish you a very, very safe, healthy, happy future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Krishna Sundar. I hope just trying whether our Master of Ceremonies has been able to resolve.
Sir, I am back, sir.
Okay. Please take over. Please take over.
I apologize to everyone for the inconvenience caused. That was a most grand and appropriate welcome by the COO of MIJC, Saideep sir, on this auspicious day. And thank you, Professor Krishna Sundar, for taking us through the evolution of setting up this Center of Excellence and setting the context for today's event. Your mention of the bootcamp and promoting new initiatives shows that MIJSC is a complete promotion of innovative ideas from young minds. We will now share a very interesting video presentation of all the milestones that have been achieved and crossed in the past 4 years. As you will see, the journey has been transformational.
India-Japan Study Center, now known as Mizuho India-Japan Study Center, a center of excellence at IIM Bangalore, was founded on September 14, 2017, with the aim to become a leading research and networking hub to pursue international, interdisciplinary, and comprehensive research on mutual areas of interest between India and Japan, and to provide students, researchers, business managers, and policymakers with a deep understanding of Japanese and Indian businesses. Over the years, MIJSC, within the framework of Connect, Explore, and Transform, drives collaborative initiatives in the areas of sharing business best practices, guiding governmental policies, addressing innovation and entrepreneurship challenges, stimulating sustainability initiatives through technology and understanding culture, thereby building stronger societal bonds. With the compelling business and national interests propelling the fast evolving India-Japan business environment, IJSC has successfully developed meaningful connections with different sectors of society. The center has excellent partner relations with Mizuho Bank, which is among the top 20 banks in the world and among top 3 banks in Japan, with total assets of approximately $1.89 trillion. Mizuho Bank has agreed to support the activities of IJSC by signing MOU with IIMB. The first MOU was signed for the year 2020-2021, and that has been renewed for the second year 2021-2022 in a row. The center is also looking for building partnership relation with other corporates from Japan and India. In academia, MIJSC works with higher education partners in Japan who share the center's vision of collaboration and providing mutual support to enhance opportunities for education, research, and business development. At present, the center has signed MOUs with 6 universities in Japan, namely Keio University, International University of Japan, Tokyo University, Hitotsubashi University, Kyoto University, and Waseda University. New relationships are being explored with other universities like Meiji University and Hiroshima University. In 2020, MIJSC launched its first official quarterly newsletter, Sayaka, with the aim to interlink stakeholders and patrons with center's operations and research. This quarterly publication is intended to help everyone in the India-Japan firmament to gather and exchange ideas that would bring the people of the two countries together. MIJSC is becoming a forerunner in creating unique outreach programs and immersions for the students, researchers, executives, and entrepreneurs to explore transnational industries and culture. Under immersive learning outreach, MIJSC provides an elective course for IIMB PGP program known as Business Planning for International Markets Japan, taught by Professor Krishnasundar with an objective to enable students appreciate the complexity of business creation in a culturally different region. Highlight of the course is a 2-week immersion in Japan with exposure to Japanese industry, academia, and society. In November 2019, a batch of 43 students were part of BPIM Japan, organized under IJSC, which included visits to Suzuki, Toshiba plants, and Indian Embassy in Japan. In 2020, MIJSC reimagined BPIM Japan through virtual immersions. At a later stage, the center plans to expand the immersion programs to include Japanese language training programs and student exchange programs between India and Japan. MIJSC is involved in conducting a joint India-Japan leadership program structured as a boot camp for developing innovative project ideas for senior executives and entrepreneurs, an academic program for MBA students called Japan Economics, Management, Politics and Society JEMPS, conducted by Professor Subhashish Gupta, which is designed to help students understand the recent history of Japanese economic development with a focus on the structure of Japanese political system and its interaction with the economy. New programs are on the anvil. Executive programs such as Business Organization and Management Japan (BOMJ) help managers to develop core business skills and competencies which would equip them to handle issues involving cross-functional areas with a strategic perspective through immersive learning experiences. Annual international conferences with a focus on a research theme linked with Japan-India relations is planned in the coming year. This is to bring together researchers, practitioners, and experts from various fields to network, share ideas, and create possible solutions to the issues raised. Roadshows covering the academic and industrial sector are planned for the purpose of bringing potential partners together for thought leadership and networking. MIJSC's objective is to improve the quality of institutional investigation in India and Japan and to build a critical mass of scholars whose work will have a positive and profound impact on Indian and Japanese corporate sectors. The center is supporting research projects by faculty members of IIMB on a broad range of research endeavors relevant to India and Japan. MIJC's flagship Expert Talk series Tatsujin Speak or Expert Speak webinar brings high quality information and insights from researchers, leaders, entrepreneurs, artists and scientists and integrate it under different chapters of business, technology, culture, sustainability, etc. and present a refreshing perspective on life and society that explores the close bond between India and Japan. Road ahead for MIJSC is filled with endless and bright transformations. MIJSC is on the cusp of launching two major game-changing projects that could potentially change the SME landscape and engineering education paradigm in India and Japan. For the center to work towards and achieve these ambiguous goals, MIJSC is looking for support from corporates both from Japan and India on specific projects. This would be a win-win partnership wherein corporates could realize their social obligations through this Center of Excellence at Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. In this new world, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, MIJSC is also trying to transform itself to help unlock new opportunities, to drive new growth, and to deliver new initiatives. The future looks exciting, and MIJC will continue to share with you through the in-house newsletter Sayaka and the official website all the efforts of MIJC team to realize the center's vision of making this one of the best centers of excellence globally.
I hope that this presentation has given an overview of the milestones that MIJSC has crossed over the past 4 years. I would now like to invite Professor Rishikesha T. Krishnan, the Director and Professor of Strategy at IIMB. He has been listed in the Thinkers 50 India list of most influential management thinkers from India. His book, 8 Steps to Innovation, Going from Jugaad to Excellence, has won the Best Book Award for 2013-14 from the Indian Society for Training and Development. Professor Krishnan was a member of the expert committee set up by the Government of India in 2017-18 under the chairmanship of Justice B.N. Sri Krishna to propose a data protection framework for India. Welcome, sir. Please share your inspirational thoughts on this occasion.
Yeah, good morning and thank you for inviting me. A special welcome to Ando-san from the Japan Embassy. Good morning, namaste to you. And also warm welcome to all our colleagues from the Japanese Embassy, the Japanese Consulate, the Indian Embassy in Japan, industry leaders and other well-wishers who are attending this program. I'm delighted that the Mizuho India-Japan Studies Center at IIM Bangalore has been able to achieve many milestones during this short period since its inception. I personally have had a long association with Japan, and I recall warmly my visit to Japan about 10 years ago at the invitation of the Graduate Research Institute for Policy Studies in Tokyo, with whom I was doing a research project at that time. And I hope that the MIJSC will give me further opportunities to interact with Japanese academia, and leaders from Japan. I also had the pleasure of being associated with the Honda Foundation for a few years in the early part of this millennium. And during that time, I had participated in some of the Honda Foundation activities in Vietnam and India. And that was also a pleasurable experience. So it is indeed a pleasure to be part of the MIJSC activities. Professor Krishna Sundar and the film have described in detail some of the activities being undertaken by the MIJSC. MIJSC is an important center of excellence set up at IIM Bangalore, and it is the first center of excellence which has a country or national focus. And subsequent to this, we have set up another collaborative center which is focused on Israel. So it's particularly innovative idea, I think, to focus on one particular country. And of course, Japan is a very good choice because Japan has been the source of many innovative and useful management practices for the rest of the world. I'm particularly happy that Mizuho Bank, one of the largest banks in Japan and in the world, has become an important supporter and sponsor for this center. And I am sure we will benefit from the advice and support from Mizuho Bank in the years to come. The main focus of any center of excellence in an academic institution is, of course, research. And we are looking forward to the MIJSC undertaking a lot of important research projects, particularly in the India-Japan context. I'm happy to see that many of our colleagues here at IIM Bangalore have already undertaken such projects and taken advantage of the opportunities that the MIJSC offers. I'm also happy to see that the MIJSC and IIMB have been nurturing partnerships with several leading Japanese universities. Again, at IIMB, we have quite a long association with some of the Japanese universities. I remember our IMPM program, which was started about 25 years ago, had Hitotsubashi University as a partner right from the early days. And I'm happy that under the umbrella of MIJSC, we now have partnerships with 6 of the leading Japanese universities, and we are likely to have partnerships with more in the future. I hope that these partnerships will be able to go beyond student exchange programs to genuinely undertake collaborative research and result in some very useful and interesting findings on business and other aspects about India and Japan. As would be expected, the last 18 months or so have been quite challenging for MIJSC, just like it has been challenging for the rest of us. I'm glad to see that the MIJSC was able to adapt to the changes we have faced and create a very innovative set of webinars which enabled the activities of MIJSC to continue. And it has been particularly good to see the range of topics and speakers who have participated in these webinars, which have given a very good flavor of a wide range of cultural and academic activities which are going on in Japan. As has been already described, there are many new initiatives which the center has planned and would be rolling out in the years ahead. There is going to be a lot of scope for partnership, both with small businesses, which are the focus of some of the initiatives already started, as well as for larger businesses. And I hope these initiatives will be mutually beneficial to both India and Japan. It is indeed a privilege for us that we have today on this Foundation Day the participation of several luminaries, such as Koji Fujiwara-san, the president of Mizuho Bank, the Honorable Toshihide Ando, Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of Japan in India, Ambassador Sanjay Kumar Verma of the Embassy of India in Japan, Madam Consul General of Japan in Bangalore, Ms. Sugita Akiko, Padma Bhushan awardee Jamshed Godrej of the Godrej Group, who is chairing the CII VLFM initiative, and also Mr. Chandrakant Patel, ex-CEO Anand Group and mentor for the MIJSC VLCI program. And we will be fortunate to listen to all these luminaries during the event today. I do hope that going forward, the MIJSC will be able to build on the foundation which has been built, and we will see a lot of path-breaking research and other impact flowing from this center. May I take this opportunity to thank Professor Krishna Sundar and his team for all the effort they have put into building this center, and wish them all the best to take the center's activities forward. I would once again like to thank Mizuho Bank for their generous support. And last but not the least, the Japanese Embassy in India, who have been uniformly supportive of us in this endeavor, and particularly to Ando-san for gracing the event today. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you, sir, for that very warm welcome message. Your kind wishes for MIJSC to undertake more researches in the context of Indo-Japanese relationship and partnership will surely benefit students. I am sure that Team MIJSC would realize its full potential through its association with Mizuho and other corporates. It is our great pleasure to have Mr. Koji Fujiwara, President and CEO of Mizuho Bank Limited, addressing us about Mizuho Bank's engagement with MIJSC at IIMB. Mr. Fujiwara has been a part of Mizuho Bank for more than a decade. He has held various positions over the years, including Chief Investor Relations Officer, Head of Strategic Planning Group, and Group Chief Strategy Officer. Due to some constraints, he was unable to join this session live. However, he has sent us his message, which we are privileged to share now.
Namaste and good morning to all of you. I am Koji Fujiwara, President and CEO of Mizuho Bank. I would like to begin by thanking the Honorable Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of Japan, Mr. Toshihide Ando, the Honorable Consulate General of Japan in Bangalore, Ms. Akiko Sugita, the Director of IIM Bangalore, Professor Rishikesha T. Krishnan, the Dean of IIM Bangalore, Professor Chetan Subramanian, the Chairperson of IJSC, Professor Krishna Sundar, the Chief Operating Officer of IJSC, Mr. Sadeep Rasnam, and all other distinguished guests who are present here at IIM Bangalore, both physically and virtually, for this special event. We have all gathered here to celebrate the foundation of India-Japan Study Center, which was inaugurated in 2017, and today we are very pleased and honored to hold this event in recognition that this center will henceforth be called the Mizuho India-Japan Study Center, MIJSC. Mizuho Financial Group is one of the largest financial services groups in the world, with over 140 years of banking experience, doing business with over 70% of listed companies in Japan and 80% of Forbes 200 companies globally. Mizuho Bank is equally proud of its collaboration with institutions and organizations beyond the domain of banking and financial services. Mizuho Bank has been operating in India since 1996. Over the years, it has expanded to 5 branches of Mizuho Bank, 1 subsidiary of Mizuho Security, and 1 global operation center. Now, nearly 1,500 Japanese companies have subsidiaries or office in India. Mizuho has supported many of these companies. Also, we have supported many Indian companies and multinational companies. Through such activity and experience, we learned the importance of collaboration between India and Japan. When Mizuho was advised about the establishment of India-Japan Study Center in 2017, we offer our support. With the vision of bringing academia and business of both India and Japan closer, IIMB and Mizuho Bank came together. We aim to contribute to sustainable development and growth prospects of both large corporates as well as startup ventures. Since then, Mizuho has supported IJSC's various activities. We conduct lectures for the student delegation at our head office in Tokyo every year. Mizuho has also mentored a number of business case studies on India-Japan collaboration. Mizuho has also extended financial support to IJSC. I was privileged to visit Bangalore back in November 2019. It is a great city of innovation, being a global hub for IT, digital technology, biotech, advanced engineering, and manufacturing. The visit to IIM Bangalore was wonderful, as I was fascinated with the lush green campus with fresh air and beautifully designed building and infrastructure. I had interactions with the people in NSRCEL, or the Startup Incubation Center, IJSC, and the IIMB students, which was really exciting. During the visit, I gave a lecture titled Leadership in the Digital Era to students and alumni. I remember the good atmosphere and was really impressed by the brightness and smartness of IIMB students and alumni. I was convinced of the promising future of IIMB and IJSC. Now, I am very glad and excited to hear about a number of new initiatives taken up by MIJSC to promote and strengthen the Indo-Japan tie-ups. I would like to thank Professor Krishna Sundar, the chairperson of the MIJSC, for the outstanding work which is happening here. I would also like to thank Mr. Saideep Lasnam and the entire team of MIJSC and IIM Bangalore for their continuous support in helping this center. The relationship between India and Japan has blossomed in the last decade, with Japan making a mega investment in India. Bilateral trade has increased multi-fold, which is a clear indication of the two countries' growing interest in each other. There are a lot of synergies and mutual complementary aspects between India and Japan in various areas. India has prominent IT talent pools, innovative digitalization, and growing startups, whereas Japan has strength in manufacturing and strong large corporates with global networks. I believe collaboration between both nations can drive change and lead the world in a number of fields. We have expected that the MIJSC will act as a platform for intellectual gathering. Experts from all spheres, be it industry, government, or academia of both countries, will come together to promote the research and collaboration opportunity between the two countries. Looking ahead toward the future with a high potential for collaboration, Mizuho Bank hopes to strengthen its association with MIJSC by continuing to offer expertise gained from our own based experience. This partnership will serve as a gateway for strengthening the robust business as well as social and cultural relationships between both countries. We wish MIJSC and IAMB every success to realize its cherished vision and mission and create many leaders in this digital era. Finally, I would like to confirm my strong commitment to Mizuho's further contribution to the MIJSC. I wish you all the very best of health, success, and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your message was truly inspiring. As you have rightly stated, the potential and possibilities for Indo-Japanese collaboration is tremendous, and with Mizuho's support, we are confident that we will be able to realize the full potential of MIJSC. I would now like to invite Mr. Toshihide Ando, Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of Japan, New Delhi. DCM Mr. Ando has an extensive diplomatic career in Southeast and Southwest Asian affairs, Asian and Oceanian affairs, as well as North American and Asia-Pacific economic affairs. Your presence at this important event is critical for us to understand how the socio-economic relations between the two countries can be reinforced through centers of excellence like MIJSC. I request DCM Mr. Ando to address the gathering.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. Professor Krishna Sundar, Chairperson MIJSC, Professor Rishikesha Krishnan, Director IIM Bangalore, Mr. Koji Fujiwara, President and CEO, Mizuho Bank, His Excellency Sanjay Kumavarma, Ambassador of India to Japan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and namaskar. First, I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations on the 5th anniversary of the Mizuho in India-Japan Studies Center. It gives me immense pleasure to address you all today on this special occasion. MIJSC is the very first successful attempt to create an institution for sharing and disseminating knowledge related to Japanese and Indian businesses with a generous contribution from Mizuho Bank. And it has already gained reputation as a prestigious study center. It is especially noteworthy that MIJSC has been providing Indian students with an opportunity to communicate with Japanese business persons, academic specialists, and government officials through various platforms. As in the video clip, these platforms include IJLP, India-Japan Leadership Program, BPIM, Business Project International Management, Tatsujin C, BET, Business Evaluation and Transformation Index, and VLCI, Visionary Learning Community of India. They have enabled broad exchange among academic, business, and policy issues from India and Japan. I am so delighted to hear and witness the efforts we made and hope that these interactions will continue and build an even stronger tie between our two countries. Now, I understand that the theme of today's event and theme of MISCT is connect, explore, and transformation. These three elements are essential in understanding and developing economic, culture, and political ties between our two countries. In this context, today I would like to make my remarks from three perspectives. One, the high economic potential of India. Two, the foundation of Japan-India economic relations. And three, promising areas of bilateral cooperation in the future. First, on the high economic potential of India. It has been years since academics, business community, and policymakers pointed out the potential in India. India covers an area almost as large as the EU and it has about as many official languages as EU. These comparisons locally demonstrate the magnitude and diversity of India. In terms of demography, India's population under the age of 15 is as many as 360 million, which is the largest in the world, far exceeding that of China. And the United Nations predicts that India will surpass China as the world's most populous country by around 2027. With its huge population and young demographics, India has great potential for future economic growth. By 2050, the US, China, and India will account for about half of world's GDP at purchasing power parity, as India is expected to become an even bigger economic power. India experienced a record high FDI of about $81.7 billion in fiscal year 2020, even as real GDP continues to stagnate due to the COVID-19 pandemic. India continues to attract global funding areas in IT and energy. A recent example is a telecom-related investment for about $20 billion Facebook and Google made in Reliance Jio, one of the leading telecom companies in India. It demonstrates that global tech giants see India as a country with a huge potential in the IT sector. Indeed, the IT industry has become central to the creation of jobs for young people and economic growth in India, and its share of GDP has grown to 8%. However, quality improvement in the manufacturing sector under self-reliant India will continue to be a challenge for India, and Japanese companies are expected to provide support to improve product quality and create jobs in India through technology transfer in the manufacturing sector, as well as to increase exports of those manufactured goods. In a survey conducted by JBIC in 2020, India was ranked as one of the most promising countries for business development in the next 3 years. The number of Japanese companies operating in India has been increasing every year, which has directly and indirectly provided for employment opportunities for Indian people. We hope that this tendency will accelerate, especially when the pandemic situation improves. Now, my second perspective, which is the foundation of Japan-India economic relations. As we all know, Japan-India relations have been traditionally friendly, built upon our common historical and cultural bonds, such as Buddhist heritage. On this strong basis, we have dramatically developed a partnership over the years, sharing common strategic interests and common values such as freedom, rule of law, and democracy. Now relations have culminated in the special strategic global partnership as it stands today. Ties between Japan and India are closer and stronger than ever, and our cooperation is expanding in various areas, encompassing the political, economic, and cultural spheres. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, there has been no halt in the momentum of cooperation. The foundational relationship lies in economic cooperation and diplomatic ties. India has been Japan's largest recipient of yen loans since fiscal year 2004, with the exception of only a couple of years. For India, Japan is the largest bilateral donor with a much larger share than any other bilateral donor. Last year, in addition to infrastructure and environmental projects aiming for more sustainable and inclusive growth, Japan provided assistance to India in the health and medical sectors, including assistance to responding to COVID-19. So specifically, Japan provided India with grant aid for the provision of oxygen concentrators to strengthen health and medical systems, financial assistance loans for policy implementation by the Indian government, and technical assistance equipment provision through international organizations such as UNDP and UNICEF. Now, another foundation of our relationship is people-to-people exchanges. In India, The number of Japanese language learners, the depth of higher education institutions with Japanese language courses are increasing year by year. For example, in Bengaluru, the number of applicants for the Japanese language proficiency test has risen by almost 3 times from 2015 to 2019. Apparently, an increasing number of Indian people are interested in studying and working in Japan or seeking employment in Japanese companies in India. However, the number of Indian students studying in Japan is still about 2,000, and the number of Japanese students studying in India is only about 800. There still is much room for improvement in light of our friendly relations by increasing the number of exchange students. People-to-people exchanges contribute not only to promoting opportunities to generate new knowledge, but also increase opportunities for people to learn about each other. This will strengthen friendship over, and I'm truly grateful that the activities of MIJC over the past 5 years have greatly contributed to the exchange of people and knowledge between Japan and India. Even though traveling is probably difficult under the pandemic, we're still able to interact online as we are doing today. However, we should prepare ourselves to re-escalate direct interactions with people in case the COVID-19 situation improves. Now, my third perspective, which is promising areas of economic cooperation between Japan and India. Today, in accordance with the theme of this conference, I would like to raise 3 sectors as examples, which are digital, finance, and science and technology. First on this, the digital sector has one of the important pillars of economic growth for India and the engine for strengthening global competitiveness of India. It is evident that the government of India is increasingly prioritizing the digital sector, especially under Digital India. For example, about 90% of Indian population subscribes to mobile services. This means that nearly everyone in this country is able to access the digital world and obtain its benefits wherever they are. India is also on the verge of introducing 5G technology. This cutting-edge technology is bound to be the basis for further development. Japan also has attached great importance to the data sector for some years and has recently upgraded cooperation with India. In January this year, a memorandum of cooperation in the field of information communication technology was signed between the ministers in charge of the communications of Japan and India. This memorandum will promote sharing of information and best practices in IT sector, including 5G. We are confident that it will elevate our bilateral cooperation in this field to the next level. Among others, we are currently discussing 5G in the context of future projects prospects for the realization of CC, so that we will put both our countries together in global front. In October 2018, the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry and the Indian Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology signed an MOU called Japan-India Digital Partnership. And based on this MOU, India-Japan startup office in Bengaluru and the India-Japan Fund of Funds were established. Since then, our bilateral business collaboration in the digital field has deepened, as exemplified by the Asia Digital Transformation ADX projects conducted by Milestone. Under this ADX scheme aimed at creating new business by collaborating with Indian companies, we already started 10 projects last year and 8 new projects this year in India. India in IT human resources have attracted global attention. Japanese IT companies in India are no exception. They have set up endowed courses in universities and conducted internships to help Indian students better understand the culture of Japanese IT companies. The Indian digital industry will continue to be the center of job creation for young people and economic growth. Digital technology has a massive power, not only to connect everyone, everything over time and distance, but also make vast data processing possible. I hope that MIJSC will produce best and brightest, will lead shining projects, and that will act as a bridge for cooperation between Japan and India. The second example of promising areas of cooperation is financial cooperation. Financial supervisory authorities of both countries hold the India-Japan Finance Dialogue once a year. In the 6th India-Japan Finance Dialogue held this year, they discussed future initiatives on international finance center, fintech, and so on. As a result, the two countries have deepened their understanding of the financial sector, including efforts on the international financial sector. As we all know, the Indian government is making efforts to promote the Gujarat International Finance Tech City in Gujarat. Japan is also making efforts to revise regulations to promote the international finance city. I believe the dialogue between the two countries in this area will become increasingly important in the future. In addition to the government financial cooperation, Japanese financial companies are building deep connections with various types of companies in India. Major Japanese financial companies have set up branches in major cities in India, including New Delhi, Mumbai, and Shanghai, to support activities of Indian and Japanese companies here. For example, Mizuho Bank is the first Japanese financial institution to open a sub-branch office in Ahmedabad, an industrial township, and already giving financial support to companies in India. In addition, as mentioned earlier, India has many startups with promising technology in digital. In 2019, Mizuho Bank and other Japanese companies, as well as media of Japan, established a fund of funds to invest in Indian startups. Mizuho has been contributing to the development of both Japan and India through these initiatives. Its contribution has been particularly significant in the area of public-private partnerships. And I welcome the Indian commitment of Mizuho Bank, which has a wealth of business experience in India, to IIMP. Look forward to the further promotion of Japan in Indian relations. Finally, the third example of promising areas is science and technology. With regard to cooperation in the field of ICT, the kickoff seminar of Japan-India International Cooperative Research Center was held at IIT Delhi in January 2017. This initiative was a joint venture between the Japan Science and Technology Agency and the Department of Science and Technology of India to establish an international joint research center in the field of ICT in India, and to promote joint research with a view to the application of the results to societies in India. Some of the joint research projects in ICT are currently underway. These projects include a project called Architecting Intelligent Dependable Cyber Physical System targeting IoT and mobile big data analysis, conducted at the University of Tokyo and IIT Bombay, and data science-based farming support system for sustainable crop production and climate change, which is conducted at the University of Tokyo and IIT Hyderabad. In addition, under the Science and Technology Research Partnership for Sustainable Development, the project called Business Smart Cities in Emerging Countries for an Energy Low Carbon Society based on sensing, networking, and big data analysis, multimodal regional traffic conditions has been implemented since June 2017. In India, where the traffic volume is substantially increased, joint research by the Indian Institute of Technology in Hyderabad, Nagoya Day Tokyo, and Nihon University is underway to develop research and development and adaptation studies to reduce energy consumption and realize a low carbon smart city. These projects demonstrate the importance of science and technology cooperation for both India and Japan, and innovation is a key to the development of further cooperation. I'm sure that we will advance our cooperation in an even more innovative manner in the future. In closing, I would like to stress that Japan strongly believes in the high economic potential of India and is committed to advancing cooperation in promising areas such as digital, finance, and science technology, as I outlined, based on the solid foundation of the current Japan-India economic relations. Cooperation between Japan and India has never been more profound and diverse. So it is our common interest to connect academia, business, and government, and explore innovative steps to strengthen and broaden our cooperation. These efforts, especially by the young generation in both countries, will transform our society in a better way. So I strongly believe that MIJSC will play a crucial role in that endeavor, and that students and professors participating in this event today will be a catalyst between the two countries in the field of IT, startups, as well as other emerging business models. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Your kind words were a true reflection of your extensive diplomatic experience. Your comment on the increase in JLPT examinees in Bangalore is a clear sign of Indians' interest to get closer to Japan. Your deep understanding of the diverse nature of the socio-political and economic relationship between our countries is well realized. Thank you, sir, for your insightful speech. I would now like to invite Ambassador Sanjay Kumar Verma, Ambassador of India to Japan at Tokyo. Prior to this, Ambassador Verma was in Hong Kong, China, Vietnam, Turkey, and Italy. He is passionate about information technology and delivery of people-centric services using interactive technologies. Unfortunately, Ambassador Verma was unable to join us live for this session, but he has kindly sent us his message, which we will share now.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by congratulating all of you for entering into the 5th year of operation of Mizuho India Japan Study Center at Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. All of us would recall that Japan's recent economic rise is due to its capacity to innovate in technology. That was more than 5 decades ago. Now, nations are fighting to occupy preeminent places in technological innovation. In addition to technology, business do need finance, and this is an area where Japan happens to be the most significant source for outward foreign direct investment in the world. As there are no free lunches, there are no untied finances. Many of Japan's businesses see the need to deploy their capitals in markets which provide a rate of return better than that of Japan. If these businesses are to invest in securities and stock exchanges, once again, they would look at both ease of entry and exit in addition to getting a decent return. India offers comfort on all these grounds. It creates the right kind of symbiosis between India and Japan in respect of both the technology and finance. While India provides an excellent platform to innovate solutions against disruptive technologies, Japan has the ability to provide easy finance and management prudence. Let us come to the third very important factor in running a business, which is management. Japan is well known in the world for its prudent management practices, which has benefited Japanese companies over past many decades. Some people say that while it is effective, it is unable to take decisions on the run swiftly. In order to survive in today's fierce competitive world, right decision at right time is extremely important for the survival of businesses. if we look at all the three factors above, that is technology, finances, and management, India and Japan do not stand as competitors, but they complement each other. The areas where India lacks, Japan has an advantage. And where Japan needs to strengthen, Indian excellent human resources have an edge. These two sets of advantages should be able to converge with each other in order to create mutual benefit for the two sides. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, if it was so simple as I have explained so far, much more would have already happened between our two business ecosystems. Let us look at potential hurdles which have not allowed us to progress to our potential. Language is a barrier, sometimes insurmountable. We have a lot of commonalities in culture, but at the same time, we have divergences. There are rigidities in both the systems. There are issues of business discipline, issues of infrastructure and logistics, sometimes issues of trust and predictability, which have not allowed us to work together seamlessly. Therefore, I would request the audience, which consists of world-class managers spread across many sectors and nations, to try and understand the linguistic and cultural aspects of doing business in order to have respect for each other, as well as consideration and accommodation for each other. This is easier said than done, but ladies and gentlemen, we do need to start somewhere. Please remember that though Japan is at par or better than Western economies, it has its own unique business culture, with Japanese as the preferred language. Its legal system and practices of the court are different from what we observe in India in terms of both context and content. Therefore, unless we give time to understand these nitty-gritties, we would exit our potential Japanese endeavors as soon as we enter. Both Japanese and Indian managers need to laugh at each other's jokes, need to appreciate each other's food habits, need to develop an insight into each other's ways of thinking, and finally need to grow confidence in each other. All of us know that Japan is a leading player in electronics and semiconductor industry, and India is a leading player in development of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and Internet of Things based technologies and solutions. Therefore, it is a no-brainer that both innovation ecosystems will need to work together to develop new products and services which would not only benefit India and Japan, but could also go global. For this particular purpose, I would urge the audience to try and understand three major pillars. The first pillar is that of co-innovation. What it means is that it should find solutions jointly to our problems with a unique but universal approach. Once we are able to innovate solutions for ourselves, and these are desktop solutions at the moment, then we move on to try out these solutions in our societies or in third countries or both. When we do that, then we come closer to the next pillar, which is the pillar of co-creation. So here we are co-creating intellectual properties. Once these solutions have been innovated and their efficiencies and efficacies verified and tested in target societies, we move to the last phase of the entire process, which I call as co-production. This is the phase where industries come into the picture. This is the phase where the Japanese electronics and semiconductor industry could collaborate with Indian ability in software technologies to create embedded products. Ladies and gentlemen, I see a huge potential for India and Japan to collaborate in electronics and software manufacturing ecosystem. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, in this domain, India and Japan are not competitors to each other, but they complement each other's skill set and advantages. Like India, Japan is also largely a country of small and medium enterprises. Therefore, if we want a deeper integration of the two business ecosystems, small and medium enterprises will have to be brought on board. While larger businesses on both sides have internationalized a few decades back, SMEs in both the countries are still grappling with the possibilities of going beyond their borders. It is a question of capacity. Capacity of language, capacity of finances, capacity of managerial practices. These deficiencies will need to be supported by the governments of the day in both the countries. The government will have to create a playing field where both SMEs could interact with each other seamlessly without worrying about the language barrier, without worrying about the cultural differences, without worrying about the cross-border regulatory issues. Once the two SME ecosystems are convergent with each other, they will not require any more hand-holding, and they would take our economies to a higher level of productivity as well as affluence. A little bit about the startup ecosystems in the two countries. They are the prime innovators, and therefore we need these startups to come on board to create new products and services. Let's look at the other side of both SMEs and startups. Most of them are at the moment vendors and just one cog in the entire supply chain. Therefore, many of these SMEs would like to go to places where easy supply chain integration, both forward and backward, can take place. This is true for both Indian SMEs as well as Japanese SMEs. So far, we have seen that those Japanese SMEs which have been working with larger Japanese companies, which have already set its foot in India, we are more willing to go to India and work with their principals. We are yet to see a similar drive from India to Japan. Most of the innovations and incremental improvements come through these SMEs, and therefore SME to SME Connect does not only provide a business solution for today, it actually projects us for the future. That future will require innovative products, improved products, products which can sell in a cost-effective manner in respective markets and probably globally. If we keep our focus on this aspect of SME interactions, there is no doubt that the two SME ecosystems together can deliver products and services globally. Before I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, let me spend some time on the role of academic institutions in promoting business links, innovations, and SME connects. Today's students are tomorrow's entrepreneurs and managers. If they are given the right picture of both advantages and hurdles, I'm sure they will be able to make the business on both sides proud of their existence and would take these businesses to the next higher logical level of wealth and intellectual property creation. Tie-ups between academic institutions in the two countries also provide for an osmosis of ideas, an osmosis of cultural aspects, and a platform for learning each other's language, habits, and way of thinking. In this context, I would urge Indian Institute of Management Bangalore and Mizuho India Japan Studies Center to look at the possibility of innovation in fast-paced interactions between the two bodies of managers, both budding and practicing. I know this is a difficult task due to the global pandemic. Let me sit back a bit and advise that this pandemic has also given us an opportunity to explore digital platforms so that the interactions between the two student bodies can take place virtually. In fact, this is what we are doing today. This is much more seamless, cost-effective, and probably impactful process. All of us being human beings, we are always living in societies, and therefore there cannot be any replacement to physical meetings and physical interactions. But at the moment, we should not let the time go by just because we cannot meet physically. I would also urge the organizers to consider creating small interest groups amongst students and alumni in order to have more focused interaction with their Japanese counterparts. This would certainly help hasten up understanding each other and create a platform for effective physical interaction as soon as the pandemic situation gives way. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me today. I hope my remarks would play a role wherein we will be able to enrich our two business ecosystems, and we will be able to train our managers in the way which will impact the spatial, strategic, and global partnership between India and Japan. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar. Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you, sir. In spite of his non-availability today, Ambassador Verma has given us a very enthusiastic and informative message. Thank you, Ambassador, for giving us a real-world perspective and insights into the concerns of small businesses, startups, and policy frameworks of India and Japan. It is indeed a fortune to have your message, sir. This now brings us to the conclusion of session 1. This session has showcased interesting perspectives from various facets, including academics, industry, and policy frameworks. I would now like to set the context for our second session, which is the exploration of Indo-Japan relationship through research and webinar. In this session, we are joined by the Dean Faculty of IIMB, Professor Chetan Subramanian, and Consul General of Japan, Bengaluru, Ms. Akiko Sugita. Ms. Sugita has taken up this role from her predecessor, Mr. Takayuki Kitagawa, in June 2020, which was the peak COVID time in Bengaluru. We had the privilege of Mr. Kitagawa's presence at the campus many times over the years, but we were unable to extend the invitation to Consul General Sugita due to current restrictions. We hope that the situation will change soon. However, we are very happy that she has been able to join us today virtually. We will now begin the second session of our event. I would like to welcome Professor Chetan Subramanian. Professor Subramanian has been with IIMB in the economics and social sciences area since 2010. He also heads the Center for Management Communication and Center for Teaching and Learning. Prior to joining IIM Bangalore, he was a faculty member at the University of Buffalo, New York Sunny. His research interests lie in the areas of monetary economics, financial markets, and development economics. His work has appeared in leading journals. He also contributes extensively to executive education programs at IIMB. He is serving as Dean Faculty from April 2020 and oversees the functions of all the centers of excellence, including MIJSE. Professor Subramanian is unable to join us live today and has kindly shared his message with us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be part of the Mizuho India Japan Study Center Foundation Day event today. Due to some teaching commitments, I'm unable to join this session live. However, with this recorded message, I want to welcome all of you to this session, which focuses on the research activities of the center. I would like to welcome and thank Madam Akiko Sugita, Consul General of Japan in Bangalore, for gracing this occasion. We thank you for your support and hope to be able to welcome you to the campus soon, Madam. I also would like to thank the generous support and encouragement given to the center by Mizuho Bank. Let me begin by congratulating Professor Krishna Sundar for his vision and leadership in taking this center forward. I know he and his team have worked tirelessly over the last 3 years in scaling up the activities of the center. Mizuho India Japan Center was set up in 2017 with a vision to increase the presence of India in Japan and Japan in India. The center started its journey by focusing on funded research projects linked with India-Japan relationships. I'm glad to see that 6 projects have been completed and many more projects are in the pipeline. The enthusiastic participation and increasing interest of the faculty in this program is also very encouraging. Another flagship initiative is the Tatsujin Speak or Expert Speak webinar series launched in August 2020. A galaxy of outstanding experts have provided great insights in the fields of management, technology, and culture. Speakers in this series seminars have included innovator, entrepreneur, and robo-creator Tomotaka Takahashi, manufacturing doyen of India, Baba Kalyani, space scientist, astronaut, and environmentalist Naoko Yamazaki, musician and Japanese culture enthusiast Anupam Joshi, and a host of business consultants and leaders from compiles the learnings of the research projects and the webinar series. There are also many exciting projects lined up in the coming years. Some of these include the BET project, which is a research initiative which aims at evaluating performances in MSMEs in India. The VLCI project that also works on improving engineering education in India by giving students state-of-the-art inputs on manufacturing, thereby making these students industry ready as well as Japan ready in the near future. I have no doubt that the center will scale new heights in the years to come. My best wishes to MIJSC for achieving all its goals and strengthening the historic, educational, cultural, and economic relationships between these two great nations. Once again, my heartiest congratulations and best wishes to Professor Sundar, Mr. Saideep Ratnam, and the entire MIJSC team. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for setting the context in terms of the research and webinar initiatives at the center. Thank you. I would now like to express a warm welcome to the Consul General of Japan, Bengaluru, Ms. Akiko Sugita. Ms. Sugita has taken charge in June 2020. Prior to this, she was in Singapore and in San Francisco, both of which are global hubs of technology and innovation. Being a lover of Indian history and culture, Consul General Sugita aspires to encourage and promote greater understanding between the two countries. Welcome, Consul General Sugita. I request you to address the gathering.
Namaste, Namaskara. Professor Krishna Sundar, Professor Sandeep Ratnam, distinguished guests. At the outset, I'd like to express my heartfelt congratulations on Foundation Day of Mizuho India-Japan Study Center at IIM, Bangalore. I'd also like to commend the great efforts of the faculty members at MIJSC in building a solid foundation for cultivating entrepreneurship of the students and developing various collaborative projects with Mizuho Bank, Toshiba, and other prominent Japanese companies. In this regard, I'd like to express my gratitude to Mizuho Bank, as well as Toshiba and other supporting organizations of India and Japan. It is a great honor to be able to explore Japanese aspects for those students who aspire to bridge the two countries through business and beyond. Today, I'd like to focus on Japanese socio-cultural aspects and talk about the essence of Bunraku, as I believe Bunraku represents most distinctively the characteristics of the Japanese society, namely, Japan highly values on the teamwork spirit, humility, and on-the-job training. To begin with, I assume there are quite a few people who have never heard of Bunraku, which is a traditional art of Japan. Bunraku is a stage performance composed of storytelling, music, and puppetry, which originated in Osaka 300 years ago during the Edo period. In 2004, Bunraku was listed on the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage. Bunraku used to be the entertainment for the commoners in Edo period. The works of Bunraku were divided to two categories. One is called Jidaimono, that features historical romances in which samurai warriors, heroes of history fought and gained victory or defeat. The second category is called Sewamono and features local scandals and domestic tragedies in Osaka. In both the historical and local scandal category, the scripts did not necessarily carry all the facts, but included some of the original works of writers. It said that after a scandal occurred in Osaka, a play depicting the story with some of the writers' creative additions was performed within a few weeks and were then enthusiastically received by the local residents. One of the greatest playwrights is Chikamatsu Monzan. Chikamatsu wrote over 100 play scripts. His work were performed not only in Bunraku, but also in Kabuki, another traditional theatrical Japanese art. Chikamatsu wrote about 90 Jidaimono, and 24 ceremony. His most famous works are The Courier of Hell and The Love Suicide at Amijima in Sewamono category, and The Battle of Kosinga in Jidaimono category. In Bunraku, there are three functions of players: narrator or storyteller, shamisen player or musician, and puppeteer or the one who operates the puppets. Let's take a look at all the functions. The narrator plays a key role in Bunraku because puppeteers move their movements with the narrator's voice. The narrator wears a formal set of kimono called haori hakama, a male formal set of kimono. And he's seated on a raised platform on the right side of the stage with a play script in front of him. It is a significant gesture that he deeply bows to the play script before he starts his performance. His deep voice carries all the way to the back of the performing hall without a microphone. He is trained to make his voice heard clearly from every corner of the hall. He reads a script as if he were chanting a Buddhist sutra with colorful, low and high-pitched voice. Sometimes one narrator plays 14 different characters, including a young girl and an old samurai warrior and others. He expresses all the different characters' emotional and psychological characteristics, at the same time provides a narration of the storyline. The second, the shamisen player gives music to the performance. He also wears a formal haori hakama, just like the narrator, and seated next to the narrator. On a raised platform, the shamisen player provides music in perfect unison with the narrator. In this sense, both the narrator and shamisen player play equally important roles in tune by listening to each other's breath. The shamisen player plays traditional instrument called futozao shamisen. Futozao means thick neck. And this type of shamisen gives thick and strong sounds. Shamisen instruments are 3 strings and is played with a plectrum. A good shamisen player portrays rich emotional expressions in harmony with the narrator's vocal expressions. The musical accompaniment adds dramatic enhancement to the play. Usually the narrator and the shamisen player team up as one duo and do not change depending on the play, but maintain their unit for all performances. This way, they can cultivate their trust and perform to the fullest because they understand mutually deeply. The third, the puppeteers operate the puppet, which is about 2/3 of a life size, usually in a team of 3 puppeteers. They share distinctive roles. Omozukai, or the main puppeteer, plays the head and the right arm, and other 2 puppeteers called hidarizukai and ashizukai, operating left arm and 2 legs respectively. And it is Omozukai who gives cues to other puppeteers when they want to change directions or step forward or want to cry. Only the Omozukai wears haori hakama, the formal set of kimono, and other puppeteers wear black garments from top to bottom, even hiding their faces with black covers. A beginner audience may feel a little surprised to see 3 puppeteers moving behind one puppet. But when you are used to watching the performance, perhaps within 10 minutes or so, the puppeteers will disappear and what you see is only the movement of the puppets. The 3 puppeteers move gracefully in perfect coordination. How can they do it? I heard that the main puppeteer gives a subtle motion of his shoulder, waist, and head to indicate the direction to move or to use both hands or to cry or to step forward. It is truly amazing to witness 3 puppeteers operating in a single puppet, almost as if the puppet is a real human being. Each puppet has mechanisms inside their faces or wrists or arms, which allows it to raise eyebrows, open eyes wide, or transform into demons with horns. The puppeteers are deeply familiar with all these devices and move the puppets as if the existence were half themselves. I heard it takes 20 years to become omozukai, or a main puppeteer, who feels the puppets are part of themselves during the performances. Although still limited a few times a year, Bunraku has been performed outside of Japan in such places as the United States, Europe, and Singapore. I hope Bunraku will be able to come to India someday in the future. I think there are three distinctive features in Bunraku, and interestingly, each element also resonates with the characteristics of Japanese society. First, Bunraku players can move in unison to create a stage. They have a full dress rehearsal only one time before the real performance, and yet they can present a seamless professional performance. This indicates that they are aware of them being a part of the entire show. In other words, they make an effort to enhance the abilities of the other players by taking part in the play. If any one player stands out, it may disrupt what would otherwise be a harmonized performance. The narrator, shamisen player, the puppeteers all have their roles, and when all the roles become one on the stage, a masterpiece of performance is produced. In Japan, there is a saying called aun no kokyu, which means dancing to the same beat or acting in the same rhythm. The Japanese society highly values team spirit or team coordination at work. At the end of a successful conduct of business, the Japanese usually attribute it to a great teamwork rather than single out an outstanding contribution of individuals. Second, as said earlier, there are no standout players in Bunraku. However, it is true that some players are recognized for their significant contribution as living national treasure. In July 2021, one of the most skillful puppeteer, Mr. Kiritake Kanjuro, was designated as a national living treasure. I watched his media interview after this significant recognition. He does not behave like a big star, but demonstrates a humility, saying, I will only keep practicing so that younger generation Bunraku players can contribute to enhancing the value of Bunraku. He is also aware that he has been able to fulfill his skills with the cooperation of the narrator, the shamisen player, and other puppeteers. So his spirit is that of an artisan. Long years of tireless practices have molded his personality. In Japan, children learn to behave humbly and to respect others from early formative years through family discipline and school education. There is a saying in Japan, the nail that sticks up is hammered down. We tend not to stand up, but learn to behave with modesty. Third, Bunraku players learn their skills and spirit of Bunraku orally from their masters or senior players. A narrator's skills are carried over through generations from masters to younger trainees orally. As far as my understanding is concerned, there are no written textbooks for Bunraku. Trainees have to practice little by little by watching their masters' performances. In Japan, in mastering techniques of cooking or skills of martial art, there are usually no textbooks, but you steal techniques by watching masters' performances. The same goes with the office works. It is true that certain orientation sessions is held for newcomers to get formalized with the job in general, but younger trainees are expected to catch a hold of the essential skills or knowledge, much like on the job training in many workplaces. As Japan is a rapidly aging society, there is some concern for the skills and knowledge retained by senior experts to be carried over by the younger generation before those skills and knowledge cease to exist, especially in rural areas. So Japan needs more young, talented human capitals in many fields. Now, I would like to show a video of Bunraku, which was made by the Japan Foundation this year, as the COVID-19 pandemic has partly halted traveling theatrical performances in Japan. JF wants to introduce masterful works of Japanese stage performances to the world. In this video, you will see Mr. Kiritake Kanjuro, the living national treasure puppeteer. I hope you will be able to enjoy the video and appreciate the traditional art of Japan. Thank you very much. Dhanyavada.
Bunraku ってのはね、まあ素晴らしいエンターテインメントなんですよ。こんなにね、いろんなね、人間のね、本音をね、カンカンに言うてね、腹をえぐるような芝居はまあない。
道頓堀というのは、江戸時代のブロードウェイというふうに言われてまして、大変活気のあった芝居の街だったと思いますね。そこで私たちの源流というのは今から約340年ほど前にたくさんの人たちが観劇に行っていたという記録がございまして、庶民に愛された演劇だったと思っております。大阪の街で起きた三面記事のね、事件などを扱った作品を事件があった1ヶ月以内にやるというワイドショー的な演目がたくさん出てくるんですね。それで自分の住んでる町で起きた世話物の事件っていうものを見に行こうかっていうたくさんの若い人たちが出てきて人気が出たというふうに聞いておりますね。
How can puppets with limited facial expressions display complex human emotions? Through the collaboration of 3 specialized performers, puppeteers to bring the puppets to life, shamisen players to add musical color, joruri voice artists to vocalize the plays.
私は竹本織太夫と申しまして、人形浄瑠璃文楽で浄瑠璃を語っております。太夫さんというのはですね、ト書きの部分と全ての登場人物を一人で語り分けています。おじいさんおばあさん子供、多い時には14、15人は出てきますので大変な仕事ですね。
The Tayu recites and chants powerfully without a microphone. This art has been passed down for generations.
人形に魂を入れるのは人形使いだけども、人形使いに魂入れてるのは太夫だと思ってます。浄瑠璃やないと人形使えないと。飛ぶが如くは凄みと勢いと決意をいかに表現するかっていうのは技術的には大変、考えてやっておりますね。
The shamisen music enhances the recitation.
人形浄瑠璃文楽で三味線を弾いております、鶴澤清介でございます。三味線域はオペラのオーケストラみたいなもんでね、そのお芝居の中の喜怒哀楽、演出上のことをもっぱらにいたしております。
A mother laments for her doomed daughter. She knows she will soon die with her lover. The shamisen expresses the family's sorrow.
自分が表現することと他有が表現することが一緒の時もあれば別の時もあるの。怒っているんだけれども腹で泣いてるとかね、その奥にある心の感覚を音とか強さとかで表現いたします。
私は、人形浄瑠璃文楽の人形使いをやっております桐竹勘十郎と申します。これが私たちが頭と呼んでおります顔の部分ですね。たくさんございます。糸は顔の表情が変わる仕掛けの糸ですね。日課といいますか、朝こう起きた時に指が動くかなというのを自然に確認するようになりまして、指さえ動けばなんとか今日も人形が使えるなという安心するんですけどもね。はい。
The Omozukai lead puppeteer operates the puppet's head with his left hand and the puppet's right hand with his right hand. The faces of the other two puppeteers are often hidden. The Hidarizukai operates the puppet's left hand. The Ashizukai operates the puppet's legs and feet. Puppeteer training starts with the feet. It may take over 20 years to reach the position of Omozukai. The three puppeteers synchronize their movements to bring the puppet to life. The puppeteer's work involves another skill. They have to create the puppets by hand.
これはお園という役の衣装付けですね。人形ごしらえと呼んでおりますけども、やっぱり一芝居やるごとに魂をこう入れて使う人が作るというのがね、文楽の面白いところだと思いますけども、だからその芝居の間はもう作った人形というのは誰も触れないんですよ。私以外触ってはダメですというような、そういうことになってるんで、分身みたいなもんですよね。自分の代わりにこうお芝居をしてくれる、そういう人形なんで、お園は半分は人形で半分は僕なんでしょうね。
Osono is still in love with her cheating husband. How can she express her chagrin, sadness, and inability to let go?
お園で言いますと、やはり憂いと言いますか、悲しい気持ちをどんだけ出せるか、全身で生きてるような動きといいますかね、その人物になるべくこうなりきる。僕たちは性根っていうんですけども、その性根をちゃんと捉えてるかどうか、 技術ばっかりでもダメですし、気持ちばっかりでもダメ、両方がちゃんとこう釣り合いが取れてる状態ですよね。これができたらね、本当に人形は素晴らしく表現してくれると思いますけどもね、なかなか難しいです。
Bunraku performers only ever have one day to rehearse together.
舞台へ出ますと、もう誰が誰に合わせるとか事前に決めてやってるとか、そういうことはもう一切ありませんので、真剣勝負といいますかね、お互い磨いてきた芸を発揮すると、それのぶつかり合いなんですよね。それで合わなかったら誰かが悪いんです。その三者の力がこう当たったところをこう見ていただきたいんですけども、もうこれはね、全員が分かる、そういう時があるんですよ、一瞬が。あ、今日は鳥肌が立つような舞台がね、太夫も多分三味線もけども、お客さんも多分分かるかもしれません。みんなが鳥肌が立ってるような一瞬というのがあるんですよ。
Finally, let's watch a famous scene with the specialized performers in harmony. A major war 800 years ago divided the country. The main character is the defeated Heike warlord Tomomori. He is eager to take revenge on rival commander Yoshitsune. At last, the time for battle arrives. However, prepared to die, Tomomori heads out to sea alone.
人間ってやっぱどこまでいっても普遍的な感情ってあるわけよ。文楽その一番の普遍的な感情に訴えかけるようにできてるから、言語は違っても伝わるようになってるんですよ。
もうお客さん自身がいろんな魅力を自分で発見してその世界に浸っていただけたら、もうそれで僕は十分やと思いますね。
Thank you, ma'am, for seamlessly integrating the harmonious and well-coordinated art form of Bunraku to the Japanese work ethics of teamwork, humility, and entrepreneurship. Teamwork and the progress of the group as a harmonious unit is a necessary trait in art and in the corporate world. This fascinating analogy is certainly insightful to the industrialists and economists in our audience and to incorporate in our own work culture. As briefed earlier, MIGSE has been sponsoring funded research projects which are focusing on the India-Japan relations. MIGSE has also been hosting national and international experts from various fields of study, such as business, technology, culture, and society. I would now like to call upon Mr. Saideep Ratnam, an industry veteran with over 4 decades of experience in various industry sectors, including aeronautical and automobile sectors. He is an alumni of IISc and IIMB. He has been the Chief Operating Officer of MIGSE since February 2020. I request Mr. Ratnam to present the learnings from the research projects and expert talks.
Thank you. We were really immersed, Madam, with your great thought-provoking presentation. And what I'm going to share may be a trigger for the researchers within IIMB and outside to start working on what you indicated as a possibilities. So I will share now the work that we have been doing in this area, and maybe the faculty can take this up into a greater a focused project on Bunraku itself. And I'm sure that that will happen very soon. So now, the work that we have done so far in the last year and even last 4 years, we are trying to capture it through a book that I'm going to share with you, Exploring India-Japan Relationship Through Research and Webinars. So to begin with, in IJSC, as you have seen, has been doing many activities. But apart from that, we fund research projects, as Professor Krishna Sundar had earlier shared, that focuses especially on India and Japan relationships. And it hosts many webinars and seminars that bring in experts from various fields of business, technology, and societal and cultural endeavors. The research papers which have been completed and the webinars that have already been conducted in the past were analyzed. And the essence of these findings are being shared in this presentation. Key findings are actually tabulated into 4 categories: the leadership, management, and business, innovation, tradition, and society, people, art, and culture, and finally, science, technology, and sustainability. So we are taking when we did analysis, we found that basically strategy, structure, and systems, you can call it the hard S in the McKinsey model, is what these researchers have worked on. And the strategy perspectives explores the foreign direct investment, which Professor Rupa Chanda had done as a research project. Then the intergovernmental agreements, which Professor Rupa Chanda's research project. And another aspect which is slightly different was the business growth through innovation as a strategy, business strategy. And this was taken by one of the doyens of Indian manufacturing, Baba Saheb Kalyani, through his webinar. The structure element of this was researched by Professor Subhashish Gupta in terms of his business groups. And the system element was taken by looking at the the new paradigm of flow management by Mr. Takayuki Furuhashi through his insightful webinar. So now we will take you through these presentations and some idea about the first one, which is developing strategy through FDI, Rupa Chandas. You can hear it from her own voice.
The survey results indicate that the main factors that make Japan an attractive partner for India are its technological expertise, the opportunity it provides as an untapped market for Indian firms looking to diversify in the Asia-Pacific region, and recent incentives by the Japanese government to attract businesses to Japan as well as invest overseas.
The second project, developing strategic links through intergovernmental agreements. You can hear her on this.
The survey results indicate that the main
Oh, sorry, I think I played this before. This is the first one.
The study attempts to understand the existing pattern of FDI inflows from Japan to India and the factors facilitating and constraining these flows so as to outline ways in which bilateral FDI engagement can be enhanced. This would enable an in-depth understanding of the ways to deepen and broaden investment relations between India and Japan.
So this is the Baba Kalyani's excerpts from the 1 hour plus talk that he gave.
And this really brings us to the bigger question of what is Atmanirbhar Bharat. Okay. Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think many people have a different understanding of what this means. You know, being Atmanirbhar fundamentally means that you need to own the technology. You need to have the IP. Okay, the whole method of getting TOT and producing something simply doesn't work in this age.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to be Atmanirbhar. You need to create your own IP. How do you create your own IP? You can only create your own IP through some amount of research, whether it's application research, whether it's basic research, or whatever it is. Now, how do you do that? You do that by working with research institutions.
On the structure front, you will hear from Professor Subhashish Gupta.
Business groups in India and Japan. Japan also had large family-owned business groups, the Zaibatsu, which were dismantled in the post-war period. They made somewhat of a comeback in the form of the Kiretsu. Since they are usually diversified, producing several unrelated products and services, it must be quite difficult to manage. As such, they seem to have mostly died out in the advanced industrial economies of North America, Europe, and Japan.
This is excerpt from Furuhashi's webinar.
So two approaches are integrated in VSME, flow and then leadership. So the left side is our flow. The objective is to create a new operation model. Right side is a leadership, to create role model of leaders.
The second dimension explores innovation, tradition, and society. So the innovation is looked at through three different perspectives from two different researchers and one practitioner. And they have been grouped into hard innovation, which looks at especially the railways triggering socio-economic transformation, which Professor Ravi had worked on. And it looks also at the humanoid robots, which are transforming the man-machine interface, as it was discussed in the webinar by Takahashi-san. The soft innovation was actually a work which was done by Professor Suresh Bhagwatula on crafts that keep traditions alive, but also innovate in order to be competitive. So We will have a quick look at what this railway project was in terms of railways has been one of the drivers of fast-growing Indian economy. And the dedicated freight corridors, where of course Japan is also involved in helping India to make this, were planned along the Golden Quadrilateral rail route to further this growth. And the current challenges and of the both railways and DFC project are discussed in this project, in this paper. Here you will see Takahashi-san, who is a technologist, robot creator, and he has some of his robots have also gone into outer space. So here is some fun part of his presentation, where he is showing us a dancing robot.
As I mentioned, our society, our industry, or market is changing. And after having robots and AI technology in our daily life, we also have to change our mind.
This, the idea is to give you a flavor of all the work that we have done. This is Professor Suresh Bhagwatula.
Like India, Japan also has a very fascinating handloom industry. While it has mechanized most of its textile industry, there are many pockets where traditional fabrics are being made using age-old techniques as they have been using for thousands of years.
The third aspect is about the people and the culture aspects. And people, art, and culture is explored through these 4 dimensions: culture, leadership styles, business culture, and theater forms. So this Dr. Sandeep Goyal took us through what is unique about the Japanese culture. And you can hear from him some excerpts.
Japanese train, you can actually rotate the seats in any direction. So if you have family sitting on the other side or friends on the other side, just rotate the seat and there you have, that you can make a conversation together. Another picture of what I call discipline. Every child in Japan is taught to keep the school clean. So kids actually contribute to the cleaning of the school. It is part of their daily regimen and their work that they would do in school nevertheless. Similarly, Japanese were equally busy about football. This is a shot from the 2014 FIFA World Cup. After the match, the Japanese spectators actually helped clean up the stadium.
After you have looked at the uniqueness, another webinar was covering what are the similarities between the Japanese and the Indian cultures. You can hear from the expert himself.
You can see the expression, the loud expression that is present basically is because both the art forms basically are for an audience seated in a random space and far away from the performer. So the need for the expressions to be loud, the eyes especially, to be so expressive comes out. And you can see the makeup is also being made in such a way that the figures look dramatic, and there is a color code that the makeup is following. Basically, in Kathakali, any noble character would follow the green color. It also signifies heroism
And similarly, in Japan also, the color red symbolizes the same kind of quality. There is a striking similarity. You can see even the posture, the kind of the way the instruments are held, and the goddess, both Saraswati and Benzaiten, are not only for music and art, but are also for learning something, which we in India call as the Vidya.
Madam Sugita, you also mentioned about Kabuki and what it does in terms of dance forms or theater forms. So now we are looking at the leadership styles, and Jairam Ishwaran
Do you
took us
think
through.
these approaches are very different? Or is it that also the commitment to trust building is also very different in these leaders and in these cultures?
When you start working in large organizations with large teams, you realize that there is a point beyond which you can't do everything yourself. You need to have a great competent team, and then you have to leave it to them to deliver, because 90% of what you achieve is actually because of their efforts.
Then we had Jay Araki-san, who talked about doing business across cultures.
Multiplication of each individual's responsibility. That's making big difference. Even on decision-making process, India is, many Indian companies like a family-owned type of company, and the big boss decides everything, right? Whereas in Japan, even a big corporate, it's always bottoms up. So, that's making the quality consistency, right? And because they take pride on whatever they do, or whichever the role they take on the organization, that so we don't really need to force people to keep the quality.
And finally, we have the theater forms between the two cultures also being analyzed by Professor Damodaran.
In terms of, one, their aesthetics, the structure of organizations that have nurtured these two art forms, the financing systems, and how, based on those comparisons, one can think of meaningful cooperation between India and Japan in the field of culture.
And this is the last chapter, the science, technology, and sustainability. Two different perspectives, one researcher and one practitioner, were studied with respect to the impact on sustainability. Again, the railway freight corridor's impact on sustainability was discussed by Professor G. Raghuram. And the space science and its impact on sustainability is discussed by an astronaut. Professor Raghuram's work talked about the Indian railways, again, as a driver of growth, and the DFCs and the current challenges. And we have here the space technologist talking about her challenges, what she saw, and what could be learned and applied on Earth.
Yes, in the future, there is a concept to create an artificial gravity by, rotating some areas, and the centrifugal forces will create artificial gravity. So that's a concept. And right now, International Space Station has a small size of centrifuge experiment equipment, which is JAXA developed it for, some mice, not humans, but mice, and some for some plants. So we discovered the changes of zero gravity, or a third gravity of Mars, or a sixth gravity on the Earth. So we try to apply the different gravity to some mice and see how it affects.
And the finally, conclusion, the sustainable living describes a way of life that attempts to reduce our impact on the Earth's natural resources. It is often called a net zero living. Practitioners of such a way of living often attempt to reduce their ecological footprints, and which is achieved through various methods of altering the methods of transportation, energy consumption, and the usage of resources. And the technological improvement driven, which is driven by both terrestrial and space programs, can be used to drive sustainability here on Mother Earth. And we have to consider the Mother Earth as really a space station. So all the details of both the research projects as well as the webinars excerpts are shared in our website. Thank you.
That was an insightful and brief glimpse into the research projects and expert talks conducted by MIJSC. Thank you, Ratnam sir, for that presentation. Moving right along, we have attempted to integrate the learning from the research projects and the seminar webinar series into a coffee table book. The book has 4 key chapters. With the permission of Consul General Ms. Sugita, we are officially releasing this book. Thank you. This book will be available for viewing on the MIJSC website. In addition to the book, a monograph has also been designed which details the research projects and the webinar series. Again, with the permission of Consul General Ms. Sugita, we are officially releasing the center's first monograph. The monograph will also be available for viewing on the MIJSC website. Thank you,
May I
Consul General.
request Sugita-san to keep her video on so that a photograph is being arranged. So if you can keep your video on, Madam Sugita.
Hi.
Can it be pinned? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Okay, Meghana-san.
Hi. Thank you, Consul General Sugita Sama, for your kind approval to release the book and the monograph. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will agree that session 2 was a very colorful and educative session, starting with the visionary thinking of Professor Chetan Subramanian, the captivating presentation by Consul General Ms. Sugita, the insightful presentation from Saideep sir, and our moment of pride, the release of the book and monograph. It was a perfect culmination of art, industry, and economy. The next session, namely Transform, through new initiatives, will take you through the processes on the projects named BET and VLCI that are likely to be the game-changing initiatives in their respective fields. We request our audience to grace us with their presence till the end of our momentous event. I would now like to call upon Professor E. Krishnasundar, the principal investigator for both BET and VLCI projects. He has conceptualized the SSS model to scout, select, and support SMEs, which has now matured into the BET Index framework. Considering that the VLCI initiative is strongly linked with the Japanese manufacturing flow principles initiated by Toyota, Professor Krishnasundar has seen the opportunity for making the VLCI initiative stronger through its association with MIJSC. Welcome back, sir. I request you to set the context for both BET and VLCI initiatives.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again. In the manufacturing sector or in the service sector, value addition to the product or a service is significantly happens not at the OEM or the main focal firm, but at the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and subsequently down the stream in the supply chains. And it is also a well-known fact that 70 to 75% of the value addition happens outside the OEM. So major value addition happens in the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers. More importantly, if you look at it, 50% of the value comes from tier 2, tier 3 suppliers and tier 4 suppliers. That's where we come across the small and medium enterprises in the supply chain in their value contribution. For an economy, it is very important that these small and medium enterprises are very efficient, effective, innovative, at the same time, very responsive based on the needs. In that context, the small and medium enterprises, their ability to become part of the global networks is also a function of their technological competencies, their ability to satisfy the customers, and their ability to control the costs, as well as their ability to adopt the technology and a rightful strategic vision and in the people management. At the same time, they also need to adhere to the sustainable goals, either of the focal firm or the society. In this context, where each individual small and medium enterprise stands on these various dimensions is a challenge when when they like to get into a relationship with these SMEs as part of their supply networks. So from that angle, there is a need and there is a felt need to evaluate the business maturity on these various dimensions of SMEs. With that in mind, the Business Evaluation and Transformation Index research project is conceptualized, envisaged, and designed, and we are at a testing stage, which we are really seeing as a platform-based enabler this is a major necessity when Japanese SMEs are also looking at collaborating, partnering, and coming out with joint ventures with their counterparts in India, where there is a need for us to create a platform of matchmaking between and among the SMEs of the both countries to join hands based on the complementarities as well as alignment as, for example, like both sides of a zip, the alignment should be perfect to build a meaningful long-term relationship. For that, there is a need for evaluation and rating of the SMEs. That's where Business Valuation and Transformation Index project comes into it, which is envisaged as an ongoing multi-year research initiative, creating the raw data of the performance of the companies of various dimensions, which may enable creation of the data sets, which will encourage many researchers in the areas of marketing, strategy, human resources, organizational behavior, finance or accounting, operations. Many of the business dimensions, those researchers would be in a position to draw inferences, come up with analysis to look into the right kind of insights to help these agencies. So one of the major outcomes of the envisaged BET index is not only evaluating the small and medium enterprises, but creating the data repository and creating the data sets for longitudinal studies in the years to come. Having said that, these small and medium enterprises, more importantly, also need adopting the right kind of approaches, whether it's their internal flow mechanisms or looking into the supply strategies or sourcing strategies, or their IT strategies, or their planning and scheduling, cost control or optimization. For that, there is a need for hand-holding in terms of making them improve their performance, which we broadly can see as a transforming the companies. So for that, the right kind of resources should be the foot soldiers in the shop floors of these companies to bring this kind of a transformation. That's where we are seeing the great potential of Visionary Learning Communities of India, VLCI programs, complementarity with the BET Index project. Essentially targeting the engineering college students of rural and semi-urban background colleges students, using them and training them and educating them about these aspects where the Japanese manufacturing or Japanese management or Japanese quality philosophical insights to these young undergraduate engineering students, and giving them and making a provision for them to do their internships in the small and medium enterprises, through which they can also work on the deficiencies of the small and medium enterprises to overcome, which are identified by the Business Maturity and Transformation Model BET Index. So that's where we are seeing how best we can really create a talent pool which could really augment and support and serve the SME sector of India. At the same time, we are exploring the possibilities of collaborating with Hiroshima University, where in Hiroshima, which is the hub of Mazda and associated industries, providing an opportunity for these young VLCI participating engineering students also to get an opportunity to do internships in Japan and making them to the extent possible Japan ready. So with this kind of an idea, we have felt that it is a great opportunity to impact meaningfully not only SMEs, also creating a talent pool for SMEs with the right kind of an engineering talent, both in India and in Japan. That's where we see the VLCI program and BET index complementing each other. These are all not a short duration projects. These are all going to be a long-term projects where we would like to ensure and provide a snowballing effect over time in creating a stable industry acceptable practices and supporting them with the right kind of a talent. And in that process, we are also seeing the contributions and support from CII as well as JICA and such kind of agencies in this project. this is a brief overview of BET index and the VLCI program, where I need to thank Mr. Saidip Ratnam, who is also co-team member of both BET index as well as VLCI program, which is also originated by Mr. Chandrakant Patel. I appreciate their initiation of the VLCI program. And we have a larger plan and vision in taking it to not only to the larger masses, but also in an effective, more improved way. So I thank once again the whole team that is working on both the projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for taking us through the inception and progress of the BET project. It is indeed the need of the hour for such an important project, which can augment and impact the economies of India and Japan. Under your capable guidance, MIJSE has been able to craft revolutionizing initiatives like the BET project. The BET project is a model for supporting the transformation of SMEs. The research agenda linked with this transformational journey of SMEs would be the focus of MIJSE in the near future. We would now like to give our audience an overview of the project through this short video presentation.
According to National Sample Survey 2016, the SME sector is creating roughly 11 crore jobs across the country. This sector is India's engine of growth. SMEs contribute 8% of the GDP and is expected to reach 22% in the next 3 years. Some of the challenges for SMEs include technology, both for product and process, finance, human talent, marketing know-how, infrastructure and utilities, and leadership and strategy. There are many solutions which use piecemeal approach to address some of these issues. For example, to address financial issues, we have Mudra, Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency, and many other such schemes. However, success of these schemes is limited as other issues continue to fester, such as human resource challenge of attracting and retaining talent and leadership mindset of status quo ante is a major issue. So, what is needed? A holistic approach to how business is run. We should remember the advice by Peter Drucker. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. For most entrepreneurs and business owners, number one business mistake is that they are running their business blind. The biggest question is, how does one measure one's business performance? There are many existing approaches such as Malcolm Baldrige Award of USA and Deming Award of Japan. Why are these existing frameworks not useful? Because most of these approaches are given as awards. Conceptually, it is against the concept of continuous improvement. A goal is reached, award given, then forgotten. Most approaches also expect companies to give extensive essay type application, which increases the costs of assessment, increases the possibilities of subjectiveness. So, we need a new approach which is relatively simple to operate, transparent, clear step-by-step guide to improvement, which is mentored by experts. Here comes the need for a BET model. BET is a transparent and efficient business evaluation system. This evaluation will be done using state-of-art technologies. The system-generated evaluation will be vetted by experts who would validate the findings and rate the business to create an index. This index is designed to move the company one notch up on the ladder of business excellence, giving a clear roadmap for driving the companies towards higher levels of excellence. BET performs business evaluation in 5 levels across 8 constructs. The constructs include customer, finance, human resources, process, supply chain, leadership, strategy, and environment. The project is led by Professor Krishna Sundar as the principal investigator and Mr. Saideep Ratnam as co-principal investigator.
The project was conceptualized as SSS program in 2019. The program was designed to scout, score, and support the SMEs so that they could scale up their operations. It was visualized that the SSS model would primarily be a research initiative wherein longitudinal data from the companies would become available on this platform for launching many research projects aimed at SMEs and their transformational journey. This SSS model has now developed into business evaluation and transformation model, which is designed to evaluate the companies on a business excellence framework and create a mechanism for moving them up in the maturity framework. It is expected that the BET project would be used by companies across many sectors of the industry, and the longitudinal nature of the data capturing the quantitative and qualitative aspects of the companies during their transformation journey would generate many exciting research initiatives which would be supported by MIJSC's funded research projects program.
A software platform is being tried out which allows companies to register and enter company data, company results, and company enablers. Then this form is assigned to an analyst.
Business evaluation and transformation project is definitely going to be a game changer across 3 dimensions, namely developing a holistic assessment of companies, supporting these companies to go one notch up in the business maturity framework, and in making available data of these companies over a considerable period of time, which would be used for getting deeper insights through focused research projects. BET Index not only provides a platform for networking with Indian and Japanese companies through its extensive connections, but also with academic institutions in both India and Japan for working on research projects emanating from this rich source of data. I am sure that this initiative would not only help the companies that are in search of finding a partner, but also develop empirical models for building sustainable partnerships. The full-scale launch of this program is planned in March 2022, and we are all waiting for this exciting journey of transformation of SMEs to begin.
This software platform is being tried out with some select companies across India. One such company is Creantor's Automation Solution, which is a project-based company started in 2017 and has since grown from 0 to 6 crore turnover and from 1 to 150 employees. The product and services include insert and tool management system, vertical carousel, automated storage and retrieval system, etc.
This index helped us understand holistically what measures we need to bring at all functions and at all levels. Secondly, it helped us to understand the areas of improvement, especially in terms of the organization structure. It also helped us understand what is that we need to have in terms of building up a leadership chain.
Another company is Sakshi Auto, based in Pune, which is ready to go to the next phase of growth. For that, they need improved access to markets abroad and are looking for potential partnering companies in Japan. In order to achieve this, they are looking for the support to identify their areas of improvement in moving up the business excellence maturity model framework.
As showcased in the presentation, the impact of the BET project on the SMEs would be quite transformational in nature. MIJSC team is working hard to meet the target date of March 2022 for the full-scale launch of the program. Moving right along, I would like to welcome Mr. Chandrakant Patel, an industry veteran who has worked in various capacities, both in India and abroad. After spending his early years in the US, he started working as the general manager of Anand Automotive and subsequently grew to head the Anand Group as the chief executive officer. Mr. Patel is well known in industry circles as a visionary who can think 2 steps ahead of others. He helped to create the Visionary Learning Community of India under the CII umbrella and has been the chief mentor for this program. He will be taking us through the various stages of its evolution. Welcome, sir. Request you to address our audience.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I think Professor Krishna Sundar put the VLCI project in a very good perspective. I would like to take you through the evolution of 2 SME related projects. Started with VSME, followed by VLCI. These initiatives have evolved through chance events and circumstances. I propose to narrate the journey of these 2 projects through 5 short stories. The first story is when I met Professor Soji Shiba during his industry visit in 2008. He wanted to know the challenges faced by the Anand Automotive Group to become globally competitive. We felt that the main challenge facing us was the QCD performance of our tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers, which were around 1200 at that time and spread all over India. With the help of Professor Shiba and Professor Furuhashi, a unique program called VSME, Visionary Small Medium Enterprises, was launched by the Anand Group in 2009 in Pune with around 25 suppliers. It was successfully completed in December 2010. Continuing with the second story, this pilot project success led to scaling up of VSME from 2010 to 2018, during which period around 1500 SMEs plus tier 1s and some OEMs had successfully completed this project. Anand Group itself trained around 50%, that is around 600 of its tier 2 suppliers during this period. Anand Group also supported a new program started by CII called 1000 SME program, which was to scale up the VSME program to at least 1000 SMEs. Many OEMs, tier 1s and tier 2s joined the program successfully. The challenges which we realized were mostly tier 2 SMEs who kept losing their trained people. Most of them were unable to train more people to replace them. The third story, VLCI 1.0 was conceptualized in 2016 to provide SMEs, trained engineers, and SMEs and college faculties were trained together for this purpose in a classroom, which followed by industry practice. We tried to follow 30% classroom and 70% practice. By 2019, around 50 colleges and polytechnics formed visionary leadership communities across 6 states of India. 6 modules of manufacturing flow management, which were essentially taken from VSME, were taught to graduate engineering students over 6 semesters. The benefits which were derived from VSME and VLCI, the teachers were trained as SME consultants. The engineering students were made industry ready by learning and practicing flow management tools. SMEs improved their EPP, efficiency, productivity, and profitability. The fourth story, pandemic started, impacting most colleges and industry adversely. Many were shut down. We had to launch VLCI 2.0 as a self-study model using ebook because classrooms were closed. Opportunities for practice were limited in this process. Industry volunteers provided online support as demonstrators to the self-study students. The last and the fifth story, MIJSC agreed to provide institutional support under an MOU with CII. VLCI 3.0 as an online course was conceptualized for 2022 launch. MIJSC will help convert the classroom model VLCI 1.0 and the self-study model VLCI 2.0 as an online course. Small compact communities will be promoted near industrial clusters. Each such compact community will have around 3 engineering colleges and or polytechnics, around 90 engineering students per year, and about 15 to 20 SMEs from that industrial cluster close to the colleges. Together, they will form a compact community, essentially learning together. As of now, 8 such locations have been identified based on the experience of VLCI 1.0 and 2.0. Thank you. Hope to come back with more such stories.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring stories. It has given us an insight into the evolution of the VLCI program and the various challenges faced during its growth years. Thank you. I would now like to call upon Mr. Jamshid N. Godrej, who has also been instrumental in the VLCI program with MIJSE. Mr. Godrej is the chairman and managing director of Godrej & Boyce Manufacturing Company. As an industrialist of repute, Mr. Godrej has worn many hats in the support of Indian industries. Godrej & Boyce is a diversified business with a presence across 10 industry sectors. In recognition of his contributions to Indian industry, the Government of India awarded him the third highest civilian honor, the Padma Bhushan, in 2003. He has been the chairman of CII and is currently the chairman of VLFM CII. Mr. Godrej was unable to come live today due to some exigencies, but has kindly shared a message.
Dear friends, I am happy that today is celebrated as the Foundation Day of the Mizuho India-Japan Study Center. I am delighted to share my thoughts on this occasion as the Center and CII propose to join hands and launch a special VLCI program to benefit the small and medium industries in India. The relationship between India and Japan has been very deep and wide and spans many centuries. Exchanges between India and Japan is as old as the 6th century, when Buddhism traveled from India and was introduced to Japan. Indian culture, filtered through Buddhism, has had a great impact on Japanese culture and is probably the source of the Japanese people's sense of closeness to India. In more recent times, the Foundation for a Stronger Partnership was established under the framework of global partnerships between India and Japan. This was further upgraded to Special Strategic and Global Partnership in 2014. The new Japanese Prime Minister is continuing the collaboration work in advanced technologies, digital research, and innovation partnership. Both our nations have put in their agenda a strong bilateral economic tie and infrastructure development for the coming decade. The Make in India initiative has been supported by Japan with foundational manufacturing support in capacity enhancement. The VLFM project, under Professor Shiba's guidance and with JICA support, has indeed been a very significant and breakthrough program in terms of creating visionary leaders in India who are changing the manufacturing landscape of many companies. Over the last 13 long years, the Confederation of Indian Industry, in partnership with academia, IIT Madras, IIT Kanpur, and IIM Calcutta, are running this unique program for industry leaders and students. This has built a strong community of 5,000 plus members who are benefiting and contributing to VLFM. Over the years, there have been many specialized programs under the larger umbrella of VLFM program, like Visionary SMEs, VSME, Visionary Learning Community of India, which is the VLCI, which are focused on manufacturing skill for shop floors and supporting SMEs. I'm particularly impressed by the VLCI program inculcating practical manufacturing skills and practices for manufacturing, like flow optimization techniques. The VLCI project, as part of the VLFM project under CII, was conceptualized as a national level platform to make engineering students to be industry ready by giving them exposure to the modern manufacturing practices, including the paradigm-changing flow principles. The impact of this program on semi-urban colleges in Tier 2 cities that are especially disadvantaged and need support has been exemplary to make the engineering college students industry ready. I am very happy that the Mizuho India-Japan Study Center at the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, is planning to support this program under its wings. CII is happy to extend its fullest cooperation for expansion of the VLCI program at a larger scale so that more and more students get the opportunity to learn and implement these flow principles. I sincerely hope that with the additional support from MIJSC and IIMB, VLCI shall go to the next levels of excellence. I warmly wish the Mizuho India-Japan Study Center success in building a stronger India-Japan relation through its various initiatives, and I hope that the links of academia and industry would strengthen through the association of the MIJSC with CII. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodrich, for your valuable support and encouragement to MIJSC at IIMB. As you have aptly said in your message, the VLCI program is a game changer whose impact would surely be far-reaching. Thank you, sir. The visionary learning community of India, as you have seen from the messages from Mr. Patel and Mr. Goodrich, is a project that has potential to change the engineering education landscape in India. We would now like to share the status of this seminal project through this video presentation.
As noted in Human Resource Development Ministry's report of 2019, engineering and technology is the fourth major stream in India, with over 3.8 million students enrolled in various institutes. India reportedly has 662 rural and urban engineering colleges and 1,172 polytechnics, having combined student strength of over 350,000. Make in India mission was conceptualized to reap the demographic dividend of this predominantly young population. However, the quality of engineering education plays a spoil sport. 80% of Indian engineers are unemployable for any job, according to a survey conducted in 2019 by Aspiring Minds. This may be because the faculty are unable to link the learning in the classroom to the realities of the industry. Now, the question is, what is needed? The engineering students need inputs that are relevant to the industry where they seek employment and focused on developing knowledge and skill rather than just a download of knowledge. Also, SMEs needs engineers who are ready to fit into their shop floors and skilled in the application of flow concepts. Here comes the importance of VLCI. VLCI bridges the gap between what industry needs and what engineering colleges and students expect. VLCI has been scaling up over the years. There are 6 modules. Module 1 covers observation skills. Module 2 helps the students to understand processes and functions. Module 3 focuses on application of teamwork principles. Module 4 helps the students to appreciate basics of flow. Module 5 helps the students to deep dive into flow principles. Module 6 helps the students to understand the basics of leadership skills in a factory environment. In the coming years, we plan to develop faculty training and certification programs which would certify the faculty as consultants to improve their industry interactions. The student input sessions would be followed by internship with Japanese industries and Indian industries with Japanese practices. The result of all these interventions would be to make the students Japan ready through language exposure, real-life projects in industries.
change, and it is a top driven concept. It eliminates a lot of management jargon, and all the tools used in VLCI are very easy and very practical and easy to implement. I was able to transform my company from a loss making company to a profitable and growing company by using all the principles taught in VLCI program.
KLS was one of the first institutes in India to join the VLCI movement in 2016 by deputing 8 of the faculty to undergo 1-year-long training along with the industry persons. We were lucky to have the mentorship of Professor Shoji Shiba, Furuhashi, Saidi Pratnam sir and CS Patel sir, along with many of the industry who groomed us to realize the industry need and taught us the various tools of VLFM.
VLCI students not only learned but also practiced various flow management concepts like 3S map, VMAP, Big F, internal and external supplier-customer relationship, importance of FG store, etc.
VLCI, Visionary Learning Community of India, a program jointly with JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, is running in Shillong University starting from 2018. This is a case of industry-academia partnership, by which the students are taught to understand the problems of the industry and to diagnose the treatment for that. As a consequence of which, special modules have been added in their curricula, and the students have been successful in the first batch. All the 42 students got the job.
I am Akshay Kumar Raikar, presently working in Krentas Technical Private Limited as a design engineer for hydrostatic test tank and SPM projects. VLCI is a modern, industry-oriented course conducted by KLS in collaboration with JICA and Krentas. VLCI is the only course which minimizes the gap between academia and industry.
Myself Ravi Budhya. I am working as a mechanical design engineer in Krentas Automation Solutions. Coming to my academics, I completed my Bachelor of Engineering in KLS GIT. I felt lucky for being part of USCI during college days because this course has given me a lot of confidence to work in industry by bridging the gap between industry and academia.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you have seen, the VLCI program would be the bridge between academia and the industry. Moving right along, a brochure has been designed which captures both the activities that are in progress as well as that are on the anvil. It is our pleasure to present the brochure on this occasion. We will now present a Japanese version of the same brochure. The brochure will be available on the website for your viewing. MIJSE has been releasing newsletters quarterly as a way of connecting and informing MIJSE patrons with the center's recent operations and ongoing activities. We are pleased to release the Foundation Day special issue with the permission of Mr. Chandrakant Patel. Thank you, Mr. Patel, for your kind approval to release the newsletter. We have reached the concluding segment of our program. I would like to call upon Mr. Saideep Ratnam, welcome back, sir, the Chief Operating Officer of MIJSE, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Meghna. It is really a great pleasure and also privilege, but also a challenge to do the vote of thanks, because it is the list of people who have helped us is very long. But as John F. Kennedy once famously said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So here is an attempt to do my best to acknowledge the help of all the people who have made this event possible. I extend my gratitude to the keynote speaker, Honorable Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission, Takahide Ando, for taking time out to be with us and share his valuable thoughts on how to increase the association between our two great countries. The keynote message from Ambassador Sanjay Kumar Verma was very insightful, especially addressing the concerns of small businesses, startups, and the policy framework of both India and Japan. The message from the Consul General Akiko Sugita was unique, and I'm sure that it has left a very deep impression on all of us. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us and inspiring us to look at these issues from a totally different perspective than we normally do. Mr. Koji Fujiwara, President Mizuho Bank, through his recorded message, has inspired us to build on our partnership and take it to the next level. And we are thankful for his continued commitment to MIJSE. The overview of MIJSE by the director, Professor Rishikesh Krishnan, and the context setting by Chairperson, Professor Krishna Sundar, set the tone for the program very well. And thank you, professors, for your continued support and guidance. The Dean faculty, of course, Professor Chetan Subramaniam's support has always been crucial to the activities of the center, and his message and directions will help us to drive the activities at the center in the coming years. The executive committee members have also been rock solid supporters for all the activities at the center. Our special thanks to them. Mr. Patel, as Meghna had introduced, is a truly visionary leader who, with his insightful approach to social responsibility, has guided the VLCI project through its inception and through its many avatars so far. His cryptic style was evident today with his story format of presentation. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring presence and also your continued support. Mr. Jamshed Godrej, Chairman and MD of Godrej Boys. I have been interacting with him for decades, and he has been leading the VLFM initiatives at CII for these many years. His support and directions over the years has helped us all to experiment with new approaches and creating new success stories over these years. Thank you, sir, for taking time and sending us this inspirational message to our center. No success can be achieved without direction, support, and encouragement of senior leadership and the continuous involvement of all the senior leaders of IIM goes to evolve our center's activities in a seamless way. The support from the VLSI community is incredible. Special mention must be made of the Centers of Excellence at GIT Belgavi, Shulini University, whose chancellor sent a message, and JC Bose University in Faridabad. Thank you, sir, for all your continued support, which would make VLCI a truly great experiment in transforming engineering education in India. The involvement of industry, especially SMEs, both in VLCI and BET project, have been and would continue to be the linchpin for the success of these programs. So therefore, I must make a special mention of the creators at Belgavi, led by Nilesh Chowgle. His energy, enthusiasm, commitment are truly infectious. Similarly, Rahul Jain from Paragon Autotech, whom you saw in the video, Sanjay Khanna from Pyramid Abrasives, Amol Patel from Takshi Auto, Vinayak Naik from Yash Industries. They are all owners of SMEs and have been the pillars of support for these programs. Mr. Rana, T.S. Rana, has played a crucial coordination role for all these projects over the years. The role played by industry experts in the design of the BET project constructs needs a very special mention. Kalpana Narayan, Virendra Nandedkar, Narayan Vakil have all been pillars who have helped us to put flesh into the skeleton of BET. I am sure that with their continued support, this project will reach much greater heights. The support from the MOOCs team has been truly incredible in creating videos for this event. I must mention the contribution of Sushma Naik, who worked late nights and all holidays to meet the tight deadlines. Her ever-smiling approach to the endless iterations and endless revisions that we have been doing from our end has truly won our hearts. Thank you, Sushma, for your wonderful support. She was also supported by Maushmi Banerjee, who worked seamlessly with the team MIJSC to make the videos a reality. Also, a special mention I have to make to the recording team, who worked at all odd hours, all odd timings, and we are overwhelmed with the gratitude for their support in making this happen. The support of Navneet Krishnan and Yusuf Mohammed has been truly exemplary. Thank you to both of you. Then the 2 books on exploring India-Japan relations was made possible due to the untiring work done by Jalakara. Both Harsha and Prabha worked hard to convert a thought into a reality within a very short time, thereby producing the first monograph and book from the center. Our special thanks to you too and your team. Purple Mango worked on the brochure with their usual professional competency. As you see, the Japanese version must have created a challenge for them, but they rose to it in a very admirable way. The Foundation Day edition of newsletter Sayaka was made possible with a quick response from Fast Prints. Thank you, Mr. Sridhar, for living up to your motto, Fast Prints, and meeting our tight timelines without a murmur of protest. The communications team, led by Kavita, supported us to the hilt, as usual. The splendid support extended by the three ladies needs a very special mention. Srividya, Meghana, and Vaishnavi have made a difficult task seem very easy. Because we had tried the simultaneous translation feature on Zoom for the first time, and it seems to have worked very well, thanks to Vaishnavi-san. Srividya and Meghana have helped us to compare this program, and they have done so well. And we are very grateful to this trio for their support in making this happen. In the technology-driven world that we live in, nothing moves without effective support of IT. The contribution of IT department of IIMB to this program's success is immense. I have to make a special mention of Mr. Sangamesh's great efforts. Now, the last part, I have to thank the team MIJSC. Leader is Soumya. I call her the Woman Friday of MIJSC. She has a never say die attitude, which is truly inspirational. Apart from juggling her various responsibilities, she also volunteered to be the voice for the videos. And what a great job she has done. Gopika Nair, a research associate at MIJSC, acted more like a media veteran who managed the external stakeholders very competently, apart from monitoring the design and execution of the brochure, the newsletter, and all the media inputs. Preeta Koda, another research associate and a Japanese language enthusiast and a lover of all things that are Japanese, did all the groundwork for all this program before being bitten by the postgraduate bug. And the newest member of the team, Divya, came in at the right time, and her induction happened right in the battlefield. So she worked hard on the videos and ensured that the job was well done. Above all, it is the incredible participation and support of all of you that makes MIJC tick. I do hope that you would continue to support us and explore partnership opportunities between us. I have already seen that there are many chat messages that are offering their participation and partnership opportunities. Thank you. We are looking forward to meeting up with you in the forthcoming events which are organized by the center periodically. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and sayonara.
Thank you, sir, for the very sweet and wonderful message. This energy, smooth execution, and the futuristic innovations of MIJSC wouldn't be possible with your visionary thinking. Undoubtedly, MIJSC will be braving to a path of innovation with your guidance. We hope today's event was inspiring and eye-opening for our audience. MIJSC is an epitome of India-Japanese collaboration and impeccable understanding between the two countries. Today's event is just a small glimpse into the tremendous industry innovations and growth conceivable in the business and management industry, only possible because of the exemplary Indo-Japanese connect that MIJSC has nurtured. We would like to conclude today's event by thanking all our esteemed speakers, guests, and audience for staying with us till the end and being a part of our celebration. Thank you and goodbye.